Good evening, dear students. Today, I would like to share with you a new topic that is on curriculum vitae. Generally, uh, once we complete our undergraduation and sometimes post graduation, we will be busy applying for different kinds of jobs. So, we will be in search of jobs. We'll be going through different notifications and trying to find out jobs which are suitable, that suit our qualification and our skill. So to apply for a job these days, so every corporate sector or sometimes even government sectors, public service commissions, so they ask for the details of the candidate, the name of the candidate, his date of birth, qualifications, experience, job profile, expectations, working conditions, merits, all kinds of things they try to get from the candidate. That is, they want to know whether the candidate who is applying for the job is suitable for the post. At the initial level itself, they will try to screen the applications. They will try to select the applications. They will try to put aside the applications which are not suitable. So depending on the details we give, we will be called for the interview or to the further stages of selection. And these details the candidate presents in the form of a document, in the form of a paper, in 1 page or 2 page, sometimes more than 2 pages. So the paper that contains the details of the candidate who is applying for the job is called curriculum vitae. It is also called resume. So generally we use the term biodata. So that is biological data, which may not be appropriate at times. But the general terms we use whenever we apply for a job, the sheet that contains the details of the candidate is called curriculum vitae, or it is also called resume. So today I am going to share with you regarding curriculum vitae and what items does a curriculum vitae contain, what are we supposed to present in the curriculum vitae, the structure of the curriculum vitae, and other rules and formalities related to preparing curriculum vitae. First, we'll start with a brief definition of what curriculum vitae means. Okay, so let's start with what curriculum vitae means. What do you understand by curriculum vitae? So here we find a definition. The definition says that curriculum vitae is a brief account of a person's education, qualifications, and previous occupations, typically sent with a job application. So this is a brief definition of what a curriculum vitae is. So what does it mean? What does it say? Curriculum vitae, in short form we call it CV. CV means it is a brief account of a person's education. That is, you are going to present, the candidate is going to present his details related to his education, qualifications, and previous occupations. That is, You will present your name, your place of birth, date of birth, and all these things. And besides this, you are going to present your educational qualifications. So, starting from the highest to the lowest. Suppose you are doing your post graduation or you have completed your PG. So, then your CV will start with the PG qualification and UG qualification and intermediate qualification and school education. So, from the latest to the last, or from the recent to the earliest. In the reverse chronological order, we will present. And also in the same way, previous occupations. Occupation means, so before you apply for this job, you might have worked somewhere or you had some other job. It is called occupation. So you can mention it there. Typically sent with a job application. Typically means if you are applying for a job, take it for granted that your application must be accompanied with your curriculum vitae. That is, your application accompanies curriculum vitae also. Without curriculum vitae, the person who is going to interview, the interviewer, or the person who is going to give you the job, so may not know or may not be knowing about your personal details or your educational details. So for this, they need a curriculum vitae. Next, how do we prepare curriculum vitae? That is preparation of curriculum vitae. How do we prepare our curriculum vitae? So let's find out. The first step is, whenever we think of preparing a curriculum vitae, we may think that we need to attach our or paste our photograph there. So some people, they prepare curriculum vitae with their photographs. It's good, but it is not compulsory. So the first point says that a picture of yourself, not mandatory. So if you can produce your photograph on the curriculum vitae, it's good, because it becomes easy for the committee members to identify whether the person is correct or not. So it is a kind of an identity. So people can easily identify you whether you are the right candidate or not, or whether you are the exact candidate or not, or somebody is representing you. So this doubt will be cleared if you can present your photograph. But it is not mandatory. Sometimes it may not be compulsory, because when you are attending an interview on your own, so the committee will can identify whether you are the right person or not, or whether somebody is representing you. So number of details are there. So based on the details, they can identify whether you are the right person or not. So therefore, pasting a photograph or producing a photograph on the CV sheet is not compulsory. And if at all you use it, use a professional passport size picture of your face. And if at all you make use of a photograph or you paste a photograph, what kind of photograph you are supposed to use? A passport sized picture. You know what the passport size photograph is of your face. It must be professional. That means it must be neat. You should be well dressed. You have to be neatly groomed. Your hair must be brushed properly. So neatly dressed, a professional look should be there. You should not go with a beard which is very awkward to look at. So you have to be neat in your appearance. Next comes the personal information. So then in the curriculum vitae, you start presenting your personal information. So what does personal information contain? So you should be very careful about this, because only include those personal details that will help you score the job. So in your personal information, so when you present your personal information, see that you don't present unnecessary information. Only present relevant information which will help you in scoring good marks. Because preparation of CV also creates an impression. So the man or the person who is going to offer the job will look at the CV, and your CV tells about your personality, whether you are serious, whether you are professional, or whether you are casual, or whether you are not aware of preparing a CV. So be careful in including those details. Next one, prospective employer get a better mental picture of you as a candidate, because if you prepare a good CV, a balanced CV, what is the advantage? Prospective employer will get a better mental picture. Prospective employer means the employer or the person who is going to offer the job. So he thinks in a prospective manner, in a progressive way. So he thinks in a positive manner. So by looking at the CV, so he will get an impression of the candidate of you. He will get a better mental picture of you as a candidate. So then he can easily understand that you are a hardworking, sincere, disciplined person. So your CV speaks about you. Therefore, be careful while preparing your CV. And next one is, Indian resume format usually ends with a self declaration and signature. So here in this slide, uh, I tried to give brief outlines about a CV, how a CV should look like, how to prepare a CV, what kind of details should you include in the CV, and how to end the CV. That is, when we look at the curriculum vitae or the resume prepared from the Indian standards or the Indian format of preparing a CV, generally the CV will end with self declaration and signature. That is, you will declare that whatever information presented by you is true, and you sign it. If any wrong information is there, you are liable for punishment. So this kind of self declaration you make when you prepare a CV. That is the Indian format. Next, we'll go further. Indian resume includes candidate's name, home address, email address, and phone number. So the standard Indian format of a curriculum vitae or a resume. So how does it look like? We will paste the photo on one side, then followed by our personal details. So the first one is your name, candidate's name, and then your address, residential address or home address. Then you have to write your email address. After that, you have to present your phone number. So these are your personal details. And along with this, sometimes you can also give information related to your age, gender, marital status, nationality. These are additional information. So generally people will not ask you about your marital status. Sometimes they ask depending upon the job, and they will ask you about your age, whether you are a young man, a middle-aged person, whether you can do the work or not, whether you are suitable for the job or not. If it is a job meant for male, they will ask you what gender. If it is a job meant for any person, a male or a female, then also they will take, because they have to fix the timings. They will ask you, is working during evening hours is comfortable or not. So all these things will be taken into consideration. And even marital status. If you are married, they have certain less restrictions, but if you are a bachelor or a spinster, so they will try to take you. They give preference to people who are unmarried, because they can work round the clock at any time in the morning hours or in the evening hours also. And nationality, generally in India, Indians apply for the different kinds of jobs. Sometimes another person may apply belonging to some other country. So to find out to which country you belong, they may ask you about your nationality also. And as I have told you, your CV will end with self-declaration and signature, because don't forget to put a self-declaration and signature at the end of your resume. So don't stop your resume without your self declaration, without your signature. These two are very important, because otherwise the information which you have produced will not become valid information. Next, this is how self-declaration looks like. Self-declaration, that is, you yourself will declare. నీకు నువ్వే చెప్తావు, పైన ఇచ్చిన సమాచారం అంతా కూడా నాకు తెలిసిన ప్రకారము కరెక్ట్, వాస్తవమే, దీంట్లో ఎటువంటి తప్పిదాలు లేవు, ఒకవేళ తప్పిదాలు ఉంటే దానికి నేనే బాధ్యత వహిస్తా అని మనం రాసిస్తాం. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ సెల్ఫ్ డిక్లరేషన్, ధృవీకరణ, స్వయం ధృవీకరణ. ఫాలోడ్ బై your signature, date and place. So you will sign it and you will write the date and the place from which you are submitting this curriculum vitae. So this is the declaration model. The information stated above are true to the best of my knowledge and belief. So this is what you declare. The information stated above are, so here information is taken as a plural form. సో సమాచారం, పైన తెలుపబడిన సమాచారము నాకు తెలిసినంత వరకు వాస్తవము, అకార్డింగ్ టు ద బెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ మై నాలెడ్జ్ అండ్ బిలీఫ్. సో దిస్ ఈస్ హౌ యూ హ్యావ్ టు present your self declaration. Next comes professional summary. So after the personal details in the curriculum vitae, you will present your professional summary. Professional summary means, so where did you work before, what kind of job did you do, what were your achievements, all these things you have to present. So here professional summary means a short list of your most notable accomplishments and qualifications, gives an employee all the relevant information needed. That is, under professional summary you are going to present your achievements, notable accomplishments, అంటే నువ్వు సాధించిన విషయాలు, లెక్కలో తీసుకోగలిగిన విషయాలు, గుర్తింపదగిన విషయాలు, నోటబుల్ అకంప్లిష్మెంట్స్ అండ్ యువర్ క్వాలిఫికేషన్స్. సో వీటిని చూసి ఏమవుతుంది, ది ఎంప్లాయర్ విల్ గెట్ ఎ క్లియర్ ఐడియా అబౌట్ యూ, and by looking at you he will also make a comparison whether these things are true or not, because the CV says one thing and your appearance looks another. So sometimes your CV may not suit your personality. So to find out whether whatever information submitted is true or not, they will go through the CV and they will try to examine you or test you or question you. Next is work experience and education, and in short it is also the summary of your professional accomplishments. So you have to present how much experience you have earlier, what is your education, so did you improve your qualifications after getting the job, so were you only working or were you working at the same time studying on part-time basis or working on part-time basis. All these things they will come to know. So here write work history in a reverse chronological order. So if you have previous experience or if you had worked somewhere earlier in one or two companies, so try to present that information. And how to present a reverse chronological order. Reverse means not 1 2 1 2 3 4, but 4 3 2 1. So the latest job where you did the previous and the previous. So in this way you try to present your job in the reverse chronological order, and while presenting this information try to use bullets. So if you go to this section you can find arrow marks or dots or squares or rectangle shape or asterisk will be there, star like thing. So those things you try to use, they are called bullets. Use bullet points to structure each subsection. So when there is a main section and below it you have subsections, so to keep them in order don't use numbers, instead of that try to use bullets. You can use arrow symbol or dot symbol. And quantify your accomplishments. Quantify means show the number, what did you achieve, what are the various things you achieved, you show them one after the other, 1 2 3 4, that is called quantify, show the number. So that number will tell about you, will speak about you, so you will be having more chances of selection in this kind of a job. So you have applied for a better job, definitely you will be selected for the job. So depending on the previous accomplishments, show them. So when I worked in this company, I did this. Another company, I did this. So in this way, try to present your achievements. Next one, past work experiences. You can share with them. Previously, I worked with Zenco company. After that, I worked with Tata Birla company. After that, I worked with so and so company. But this should be presented in a reverse order. Okay. There, under past work experiences, what to do? Write the name of the position. What was your position? So, I worked as a receptionist. I worked as an accountant. I worked as a liaison officer. I worked as a chief executive officer. So in this way, try to name the position. At the same time, name of the company. In which company? So I worked as a receptionist in the so and so company. Okay, in Alvin company. And where is the location? Hyderabad. And when did you start this job? From so and so. From 1/1/2011 to 1/1/2012. That is, you worked for 1 year. You tell all the information, you present all the information. And here also try to use bullet points. Use bullet points to structure each subsection. So under work experience, you have to present what to do, where did you work, all these things by using bullets. And here also show the number, quantify your accomplishments. So the more things you present, so the more impressive will your CV be. So you will be getting brighter chances of selection. Next one, when you come to structure for your education, so under educational qualifications, so in the curriculum vitae, you present different kinds of things: personal details, professional details, educational qualifications. Under educational qualifications, how to present them? So here are the steps. List your diplomas and certificates with the most recent ones at the top. List your diplomas and certificates with the most recent ones at the top. So you have a number of qualifications. You might have completed graduate courses, postgraduate courses in different subjects. At the same time, you might have completed some diploma courses also. But you have to present these qualifications with the most recent ones. That is, you completed post graduation in psychology recently, so present it first. Then 3 years before you completed so another course, you present it there. In this way, you present your qualifications in the reverse order, not from school level but from university level to school level. And mention field of study, name of the institution. So if you write what is your qualification, number one, post graduation, in which subject, field of study, psychology, from which university, Kakati University, and which year, from this year to this year. So you can also mention your achievements while doing your PG course. After completing your PG course, you might have secured a gold medal, or first rank, or second rank, or in one of the subjects, in one of the papers, you might have secured the highest marks. So try to inform them. So make a table, and in the table, first name of the course, then subject, then which university or which PG center, PG college, and then during which academic year. After that, any remarks. Under remarks, did you achieve anything, something special? Did you achieve something special? Did you get a rank? Did you get a gold medal or a silver medal? So try to mention there. Next one. After that, we come to other sections. That is, in your curriculum vitae, you will also be presenting these things. That is, skills, references, volunteering, languages, other sections. So skills, generally, uh, in these days, during these days, we need people with the skills. Having mere qualifications is not enough. So along with qualification, you need to have some skills. So if you have any separate skills, you can mention there. So you can say social skills, problem solving skills, entrepreneurial skills, life skills. So like this, people skills. So you can mention there. Or you are an expert in fitting something, in fitting, expert in plumbing, knows electrical works, expert in computer peripheral work, expert in computer software. So these are the skills. And references. You can give references, but the reference stage comes at a later stage. So in your CV, they may not be asking about references, but once they get a good impression by looking at your CV, they may ask you to give the names of some references. Then you have to give the names of people who have some respectable position in the society. కొంతమంది రెఫరెన్స్ ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఎవరు తెలుసు నీకు, నీ గురించి ఎవరికి బాగా తెలుసు, పలానా సారి తెలుసు, మీ టీచర్ పేరు, మీ సార్ పేరు, మీ యొక్క బ్యాంక్ మేనేజర్ పేరు. సో యూ కెన్ గివ్ ద నేమ్స్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ హూ హోల్డ్ ఎ పొజిషన్ ఇన్ ద సొసైటీ, హూ హ్యావ్ సమ్ రెస్పెక్ట్. You cannot give the name of a thief, okay, or a smuggler or a dacoit, but respectable people. And volunteering means, so while studying or while doing a part-time job, you must have done some voluntary work also. So during emergency situation, when there is a huge gathering, during the national festivals, or during some calamities, during floods, cyclones, you might have went somewhere and helped the people voluntarily. సో అటువంటి సేవ చేసి ఉంటే అది కూడా చెప్పొచ్చు. దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ బి యూస్ఫుల్ ఫర్ యూ. అండ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్. హౌ మెనీ లాంగ్వేజెస్ యు నో? సో బిసైడ్స్ యువర్ మదర్ టంగ్, you will be knowing one or two languages: English, Hindi, sometimes Urdu. So you can mention there, but you have to mention those languages in which you are perfect. ఏదో మామూలుగా రెండు ముక్కలు తెలుసంటే కాదు, ఆ భాష మాట్లాడగలగాలి, భాష రాయగలగాలి, తర్జుమా చేయగలగాలి, అవసరమైతే ఇతరులకు దాన్ని ట్రాన్స్లేట్ చేసే పరిస్థితి మనకు ఉండాలి. సో బికాజ్ వెన్ యూ ఆర్ సెలెక్టెడ్ ఫర్ ఎ మల్టీనేషనల్ కంపెనీ where customers from different countries come there, so you will be given the job of a translator. So you may be asked to translate what the fellow is speaking, that Arabic fellow, Urdu fellow. So you have to convert that Urdu into Telugu or English or Hindi. So only mention those languages in which you have perfection, but don't simply write I know all languages or I know so many languages without having real knowledge about the language. So first one, when you come to skills, I told you what skill means: ability to do something in a better way, ability to do something with perfection is called skill, in the required time, okay, in the required manner. So employers should immediately recognize your skills from the projects you worked on in the past. So the skills which you mention, and definitely you might have used your skills in your previous job. So the person who is going to interview you now, or the employer who is going to give you the job, should be in a position to recognize your skills. So if you tell the employer that I worked as a receptionist, I worked as a lab technician, I worked as a liaison officer. So when you say I worked as a receptionist, what will the employer think? The employer thinks that this fellow has the skill of communicating with the clients or with new customers. So he can be placed in the team meant for communication or meant for training. So he knows better. And if you say I worked as a liaison officer, so you will be taken to another department where you are supposed to write a document, agreement, okay, debate or discuss with the clients, and then you can take a decision or you can submit the project to the company. So depending on your earlier projects, the employer will realize your skills, will try to understand what kind of skills you have. And if you have a particular set of skills you want to emphasize, list your hard skills in a section of its own. సో అండర్ స్కిల్స్ యూ కెన్ మేక్ ఏ స్పెషల్ మెన్షన్, వాటి గురించి ప్రత్యేకంగా చెప్పచ్చు. ఒకవేళ మీకు ఒక ప్రత్యేకమైన నైపుణ్యం ఉందనుకోండి, వాటి గురించి బాగా చెప్పాలనుకోండి, సో అక్కడ మీరు దాన్ని చెప్పి చూపించవచ్చు. లిస్ట్ యువర్ హార్డ్ స్కిల్స్ ఇన్ ఎ సెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్. సో దే కమ్ అండర్ హార్డ్ స్కిల్స్. You know, we have soft skills and we have hard skills. So hard skills means the kind of information you have, the kind of expertise you have in a particular area of study in your subject is called hard skill. And what is soft skill? How to deal with people, how to talk, how to manage things, how to correlate, how to create a bridge, how to solve a problem. So these are related to soft skills. Hard skills are related to your work nature, your work capabilities, your subject knowledge. So if you have any special skills, you can mention them under hard skills. And next one, when it comes to references, already told you, never put references on your resume. So don't mention references, I know so and so, unless they ask you. So they will ask you again, okay, give some names of some eminent persons in your locality whom you know, whom the company can correspond with, and talk to them whether the candidate is correct or not, whether he is an Indian, whether he is a responsible person or not, can we depend on him, can we give him the job, so what is his nature, all these things they will try to communicate with them, they will try to get information from the references. But don't give the names of references in your resume, because no companies ever screen candidates in the first round of the application process. So what is the reason? So first round of application process is submitting your CV, and just they look at the CV, they take some details, but they do not take the references into consideration. So don't give references in CV, because it is the first round of application process, and once they go through the CV, they will come to the second stage. And if that at this stage the references are important, then they will ask you. Okay, if a company requires references, they will ask for them after a successful interview. So once you are selected for the job, once you become an aspirant, once your name is listed on the among the participants list, or once your name is there on the list of participants, then they will send you a letter. You give us certain information, you also give us some references, so that we can talk to them, so that we can find out whether your candidature is good or not, నువ్వు సరైన వ్యక్తివా కాదా, ఏమైనా నీకు నేర చరిత్ర ఉందా, ఇవన్నీ తెలుసుకోవడానికి దే వాంట్ ద నేమ్స్ ఆఫ్ సమ్ రెఫరెన్సెస్. అండ్ దిస్ will take place at a later stage, that is once you are selected for the interview, or once you're selected for the post. Next one, what about volunteering? I already told you, put your voluntary work on your resume, it's always an advantage. So whenever you apply for a job, don't hesitate, the good things you have done, try to mention them or try to place them on the CV, make a mention of it, because that will be an advantage for you. So the employer will think that this man has interest in voluntary service, so we can make use of his services in the job. Whenever the job demands a voluntary work, you will be called for, or you will be invited, you will be given the chance. So that is, working voluntarily also adds weightage to your resume. And what does volunteering mean? చూడండి ఇక్కడ, volunteering shows your proactivity. So the first advantages of volunteering is, it will tell the employer, or it will make the employer understand about your nature, that is, you are a man of proactive nature. Proactive means what? So depending on the situation, if the situation demands, without anybody asking you, or without anybody provoking you, you yourself will move forward to take part in the activity. Suddenly if something happens on the street, you go there. Sometimes you imagine something is going to happen, immediately you try to react. But most of the people, what they do, after everything is over, they will try to react, or if somebody pushes them forward, they will try to react. But here you participate in the work on your own voluntarily, so that kind of nature is called proactive nature. And next one is motivation. So volunteering shows that you have self motivation. You motivate yourself, at the same time you try to motivate others. That is, it speaks about the quality of motivation that is found in you. And next one is, you are a person with a social consciousness. So who participates in voluntary work? People who think that they are a form of the they are a part of the society. People who think that they are social animals. People who think that they have social responsibility. So those people only will come forward to help others voluntarily without expecting anything from them. So they are a kind of a good Samaritan. Good Samaritan means a person who helps others when they are in need, difficulties, without expecting from them. So you are a kind of a good Samaritan, and this things or these kind of things will be known, or the employer will come to know by looking at your CV. So in your curriculum vitae, don't forget to mention your voluntary services. And the next one is, I told you about languages. So in your CV, you will also write what languages you know, the languages you can speak, the languages you can write, the languages you can understand or read. So here, only include the languages you are fluent in. So don't use or don't mention those languages which you know very rare or very barely, which you know little or which you know only something about it. But mention those languages which you can speak fluently. Fluently means ఏ భాషనైతే మనం అనర్గళంగా మాట్లాడగలుగుతామో, ఎటువంటి సందేహం లేకుండా, ఎటువంటి నిర్మోహమాటం లేకుండా పదాలను కరెక్ట్గా వాడుకుంటూ మాట్లాడుతూ ఉంటామో అటువంటి భాషనే మనము మన సివిలో వేయాలి. ఇట్ ఈస్ వీ కెన్ స్పీక్ తెలుగు, or we can speak English sometimes, sometimes Hindi. So if it is only one language, okay, but mention only that language. But don't unnecessarily mention other languages in which you have no fluency. Next, don't bother mentioning those you cannot really speak fluently. Just now I told you, if you are not fluent, don't mention that language. Example, if you took a Sanskrit class in high school years ago, it doesn't really count as an asset. Now you are an English teacher, or now you are teaching a specific subject. So here, the job which you have applied demands understanding of more than two languages. And suppose you have taught some subject 10 years back, you cannot mention it as a language in which you are fluent. So it will not be an asset for you. You spoke about that language number of years ago and now you forgot it. So you cannot mention languages like that. Only mention those languages which you are using regularly and which you are using fluently. So that is how you have to mention in the CV. So these are the very important things. So whenever you prepare a CV, you are supposed to mention all these kinds of things in your curriculum vitae. And I think we can once again go back to find out what CV is, and with that we'll stop. Tomorrow we'll continue with some more details, and tomorrow we can complete the lecture on curriculum vitae, right? So let's recap, or let's refresh ourselves about the definition of a curriculum vitae. So what do you mean by a curriculum vitae? Curriculum vitae is also called a resume. And what are you going to write there? Very simple. I gave you the definition. So once you go through definition, we can stop here. So curriculum vitae is a brief account of a person's education, qualifications, to bring them together, educational qualifications, and previous occupations, typically sent with a job application. So this you have to understand. So before closing, I request you to see the definition once again, which is very clear, which tells you about what curriculum vitae is. So what do you present in a curriculum vitae? In curriculum vitae, we present the details of a person who is applying for a job. And to apply for a job, a person needs to have certain qualifications. Along with the qualification, he needs to have a certain set of skills, and sometimes he may be a fresh recruitee, or he may be a fresh candidate completing his post graduation recently and applying for a job. But sometimes we find the people who have previous experience in a different workplaces, so you can also mention those things here, that is previous occupations. And why do we need to prepare a curriculum vitae? Because it is a typical way of applying for a job in India. It is a common procedure. Typically means whenever you find an application for a job, the application should be accompanied with a curriculum vitae. So without curriculum vitae, your application will not be considered, or without application, your curriculum vitae also will not be considered. So these two things go together. They are very important, and and whenever you apply for a job, keep it in your mind that preparing a curriculum vitae is very important, because your curriculum vitae will make your chances brighter, will give you good chances of selection in the job. So be serious and be focused whenever you prepare curriculum vitae. Don't simply put sentences and words and type them and send, but whenever you type each and every word, you have to maintain the structure of the curriculum vitae. You have to give correct details. The column should be correctly maintained, and whatever things you know about you which are useful for your job, you have to present them in a systematic manner. So tomorrow we will see the structure of a curriculum vitae, how it should be, how many pages it should contain, how the line should be, what kind of details, how to include them, and how to complete writing the CV. All these things tomorrow we'll see. So till then, goodbye.